Alrighty guys, so the results for the 10,000 calorie challenge I did. So the day after, I put on about 2 kilos. So I was up to, I think it was about 78 kilos. From there, the day after that, I dropped another kilo, so I was down to 77. Had trouble sleeping. I was obviously super bloated and my appetite was gone for a few days. Tried my best to get back into regular routine of eating and training, and then it probably took about a week before I went back down to my original weight, which was 76 kilos. All in all, not too bad. Keeping in mind though, I was obviously fairly lean coming into the challenge. As I mentioned in the video, I wasn't sort of eating too much in my day-to-day life coming up into the cheat day as well. And I did reduce some calories for, I think it was about 4 or 5 days coming into the video to help deplete my muscle full of glycogen and also just build an appetite up so that I would finish the 10K challenge. My final thoughts on the 10,000 calorie challenge was it was really hard, it was really tough. It was tougher than what I thought it was going to be. I wasn't used to obviously eating that much at all, so jumping from like 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day up to 10,000 was quite a challenge. If I was to do it again, I'd probably do more frequent meals. So I did all 10,000 calories in just 3 meals. I probably should have done it in maybe 4. That would have been a lot easier. Damage-wise to the body, I don't think it did too much. But like I said, I was fairly lean, I was fairly depleted. So a lot of the calories probably just filled up my muscles. Whereas if you were someone who was, carrying a lot more body fat, didn't have as much muscle, I think it would have done a lot more damage. In saying that though, if I was on a weight loss journey, a week back in progress is still quite a long time. So it's something I don't recommend for a lot of people. Obviously 10,000 calories is a bit extreme, but I can guarantee you a lot of people that do like cheat days can easily get up to 5,000-6,000 calories without them even sort of knowing. As you could probably see in some of the videos, it even surprised me, some of the meals I ate, I didn't think were such high calories, but once I calculated them afterwards, it was quite high. That was the results for the 10,000 calorie challenge. I hope you guys liked that video. If you guys did, make sure to mention it in the comment section. And if you would like to see more or what kind of food challenges you might like to see me do. If you haven't seen the video, make sure to go back through my YouTube and watch that video. It was pretty fun, but it's something I probably don't want to do too often as well. Other than that, where I am now with training is after watching that video, watching that physique update in that video, I wasn't quite happy with where my body was at. Like I said, I was about 76 kilos at the start of that day, which is the lightest I've been in a very long time. So I've set myself a personal goal of trying to put some size back on. I'm looking to get to the mid 80s again, so maybe around 85, 87 kilos. Keeping in mind, the biggest I ever was during my bodybuilding career was about 95 kilos. So I'm just trying to regain probably half the muscle mass that I lost originally. So I don't think this will be too hard for me to do, as like I said, it's just regaining muscle, not trying to build new muscle tissue. Trying to get back up to mid 80s, still want to stay nice and lean as well. Don't want to like just put on weight for the sake of putting on weight. Not only that, I want to keep some of my other goals in mind as well. So I do want to be obviously more aesthetically pleasing, but at the same token, I want to look after my body as well. So I have goals of being more functional. So what I mean by that is making sure my posture is really good, making sure that I'm still able to move around really good, trying to keep up with my cardio, even though I've got to admit, I get slack on that because let's be honest, no one enjoys doing cardio. For me right now, my goal isn't to go back into competing, so I want to look good, but I also want to feel good and move good as well. Since that video, I've been training a lot harder and I've been a bit more meticulous with my diet. I'm now up to just over 80 kilos, so hovering around 80, 81 kilos. Probably halfway there already. At the same token, I want to be able to keep the balance in my life as well. So I'm happy to do this nice and slow. My physique goals aren't my main priority right now. Business and life is my main priorities. We've just wrapped up the IFBB Pro League show here in WA, which was a huge success, and I'm really happy with the feedback we got there. That's where I'm at right now. We're about to go to the gym. I'm gonna hit some shoulders and some triceps, and then I'll probably show you a sneaky physique update after that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Nah, I like the book. It's nothing like pen on paper, mate. This is old school Dragon Ball Z. This is why I started lifting. Alrighty guys, so we're gonna start off with the rear pec deck. We're doing 3 sets of 15 reps. For shoulder day, I like to start on the rear delts, as they're usually a lagging body part for me and for most people. I think when people first get into training, they always prioritize like pressing movements first, so the anterior becomes dominant. And anterior is normally dominant anyway, because most people are sort of like rounded all the time. And everybody does, you know, presses first, whether it's on shoulder day or chest day, it's always presses. So always start on the rear delt first, and then I'll do presses second, and then I'll start to go back and then do side raises and then rears again. There are a couple ways you can do the rear pec deck. You can do it to work just your rear delt, and you can do it to work your rear delt and your mid back. If you just want to work the rear delt, what you want to think about is pushing forward and then out. So you're just keeping a range nice and small here, and that's just going to isolate that rear delt. As soon as you pull back here, the shoulder blades come back, you're going to start getting some mid back in there. So it just depends on your goal. If you just want to isolate the rear delt, or you want some mid back movement in there as well. For me, like I mentioned, my goal right now is aesthetics, but I also want good posture. So a little bit more mid back volume is going to be beneficial to my goals right now. So I am coming all the way back. So again, if you don't want that mid back, just keep it real short, forward and out. But if you want to get some mid back, pull it all the way back, which is what I'm doing. Have you had COVID yet?
Have you had COVID yet?
No, I haven't. I'm really surprised. My housemate had COVID, and I was sharing drinks with him, or I isolated with him, didn't get COVID. And then we had the show on the weekend. I was like, surely I'm gonna get it at the show. Still haven't had it.
All that Asian medicine.
Yeah, man, I'm a ninja. I'm staying away from that COVID. Ain't no COVID bringing me down. So we're going to do some dumbbell shoulder press. We're going to do 3 sets of 10. You will see in a moment how I do shoulder presses. It's probably a little bit different to the traditional way most people do it. So most people, when they do dumbbell presses, have their elbows like all the way back, and then they press up like this. I actually do it with my elbows forward a little bit. I think that's a bit more optimal. So having the elbow forward is going to put that scapula in what's known as scaption position, which basically just means that the shoulder blade is flush on the rib cage. So bringing that shoulder forward, it's going to have that shoulder blade flush on the rib cage. It's give or take about 30 degrees in front of the shoulder. That's going to line up that front delt a lot more to work, because your delt has a action of pushing back as well as in. So we're just going to try to push back, and there's a little bit less strain on the shoulders as opposed to having it all the way back here. So you'll see that when I do this. Let's go. So these are 40s. definitely nowhere near my strongest when I was bodybuilding. I think I used to be able to press like the 50s, the 55s. But like I said before, back when I was swole. But like I said before, I actually don't do that much shoulder pressing. Just because, like I said, my anterior delts wasn't really an area I needed to grow. So it was always more sort of side and rear delts for most of my training. But right now I just like to keep in one pressing movement just to have a little bit of that strength there. So yeah, we'll just do our 40s for today. I don't want to rush it too much to get back to that strength, and you want to just take it nice and slow. So yeah, we'll finish off the 40s, 2 more sets, and then we'll move on from there.
So what's the training split now?
So I'm training 5 days a week. Monday is back and biceps. So primarily lats on that day, so lats and biceps. I like training back first on Mondays, not International Chest Day. One, because it's a weak body part for me, but secondly, as I've mentioned, posture is a huge goal of mine right now. So prioritizing back first is going to help pull the shoulders back instead of having a rounded posture. So lats and biceps on Monday. Tuesday, I do hamstrings and glutes. Again, through the rear is most people's issue. A lot of people have decent quads, but not a lot of people have good hamstrings and glutes. So I do that on Tuesday. Wednesday, which is today, we're doing shoulders and triceps. I rest on Thursday. Friday is quads, and Saturday is back and chest. So I do more upper back, so more mid-trap and chest as well. I do that because one, I want extra back volume, but secondly, having some back on chest day is going to mean better recruitment for the chest. So you're going to be able to pull the shoulders back, really be able to get that chest recruitment. So for that day, I do 1 back movement, 2 chest movements. I go back to back, I do 1 more back movement, and then 2 more chests. So again, priming the shoulder, put that in a good position to push and recruit through the chest. So they are my 5 days that I'm doing. So I'm going to do cable side raises. I actually like to use a cuff for the side raises, just so I don't have to use my grip. Sometimes when you go pretty heavy, your grip becomes a limiting factor. So I just have the cuff on my wrist. So this is just an ankle strap that you can get from any gym or any gym shop. So I like to have the cable a little bit higher as well, because that's gonna match the resistance curve a little bit better. So having the cable slightly higher is gonna make the movement hard through the beginning and the mid-range, and then a little bit easier at the top where your side delt is the weakest. So doing that movement, we're gonna think about pushing down to relax the trap, get the trap out of the movement, and then out, then up. And we're trying to turn the upper arm so that the pinky finger is leading, so that the side delt is on top of the movement. If your thumb leads and you turn up like that, then you start to use that front delt, which is not what we want. So turn the arm over, keep that side delt on top. All right, so we're gonna do 4 sets, 15 reps here. Isolation movements for your side delts and rear delts, I think, respond better to high volume. So normally keep the reps pretty high, keep it very controlled, really isolate the movements rather than keeping the reps low, go heavy and just really swing your way through it. So 4 sets, 15, we'll smash this out. Well, my boy Tommy behind the camera wants to get some burgers, so might have to get some burgers.
Double stack fried chicken, large fries.
I mean, we're having chicken rice. Yeah, chicken rice.
Chicken and carbs.
Alright, so we're going to do rope upright rows on the cable. We're going to do 20 reps on that, and then we're actually going to superset it with a chest supported dumbbell row. So we're going to row on like a 45-degree angle, and that's going to really work that rear delt. So just pull back on that 45 degree, get that elbow right back, and that's going to target that rear delt. So 20 reps on that, superset with 20 reps on that. Again, I like to do high volume on shoulders, so let's do it. Pretty pumped, man. In there. Haven't ate much all weekend just because running around at the comp. I probably only had like one meal there and picked on some chips and donuts, but so still trying to fill back up. But nah, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's get a bit juicier. Alright, so we just wrapped up shoulders. We're going to hit 2 exercises in triceps. We're going to do like a single arm overhead extension on the cable, so it's going to go out this way. So any sort of overhead movements when it comes to triceps is going to work that part of the tricep there. Okay, so that part, I hope I'm pointing it. So that's going to be overhead. I like to do most movements single arm just to really be able to line up the movement properly as opposed to double arm. So I'll do that first, and then after the overhead we'll just do single arm push downs, which will be obviously next to the body, and then that will work that part of the tricep. So we're going to keep the reps pretty high of these as well. So another isolation movement. Probably keep it around so that 15-20 rep mark. So 3 sets of each. Always do 1 or 2 warm-ups and then 3 hard working sets. So it's going to do single arm cable extensions. Like I said, I like doing single arm for arms just so I can line up the tension properly. So when I line this up, you're going to see my arm is in line with the cable and everything's coming down in a straight line because your elbow is a hinge joint. It's just supposed to bend and open. So we're going to line it up, push it straight down, as opposed to a bar that will kind of like, you can't really fit a bar properly and it's putting you in a really awkward position, which is why you tend to have elbow pain because it's just not lined up properly. So yeah, 3 sets, probably about 15-20 reps. Give you guys a sneaky physique update. So like I said, I'm sitting just above 80 kilos. So put on about 3-4 kilos since that 10,000 calorie cheat day challenge. Still trying to stay semi-lean while I get up to about mid-80s. So let's have a look at what the physique is looking like.